Admiral Zara Voss stood before the Galactic Council's memorial wall, her weathered fingers tracing the crystalline surface that displayed the names of extinct civilizations. The newest edition gleamed with fresh photons. The Kethvar Empire. Extinct 2387 GSC. You know, she said to the young cadet beside her, most species think humans are just another member race. Peaceful traders, decent diplomats, reasonably intelligent. She paused, her steel-gray eyes reflecting the memorial's glow. They don't know what we're capable of when we're truly angry. Cadet Marcus Chen shifted uncomfortably. He'd heard whispers about the Kethvar War, but the official records were classified beyond his clearance level. Admiral, what really happened to them? Voss turned away from the wall, her expression distant. The Kethvar made a mistake, son. They thought they understood humans because they'd studied our peaceful first contact protocols, our trade agreements, our diplomatic corps. They saw us building hospitals on their worlds, sharing technology, offering humanitarian aid. She began walking down the corridor, her boots echoing in the crystalline halls. They mistook our kindness for weakness. The corridor opened into the Council's observation deck, where the swirling nebula that had once housed the Kethvar home system painted the viewport in violent purples and oranges. Chen had always assumed it was a natural formation. It started small, Voss continued, settling into one of the viewing chairs. Border skirmishes. They'd attack our mining stations, claim we were trespassing in their ancestral space, despite the signed treaties. We responded with diplomatic protests, economic, sanctions, the usual civilized responses. Her laugh was bitter. The Council praised our restraint. Other species nodded approvingly at our evolved conflict resolution. Chen took the seat beside her, transfixed by the nebula's chaotic beauty. But something changed. The Kethvar grew bolder. They began targeting civilian transports, taking human prisoners for their gladiatorial games. Still, Earth's government held back. We offered peace talks, prisoner exchanges, reparations. Voss's knuckles whitened as she gripped the armrest. They broadcast the games across their empire, made entertainment of human suffering. The young cadet felt a chill despite the warm observation deck. The prisoners, families, Marcus, children. Voss's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. They put human children in combat arenas against their war beasts, recorded their deaths for amusement. She was quiet for a long moment, watching the nebula swirl. That's when they made us angry, not irritated, not frustrated, truly, completely angry. Chen had studied human history, knew about their capacity for violence when pushed too far. But this felt different. What did Earth do? Nothing at first. For exactly 72 hours, humanity went completely silent. No diplomatic communications, no trade responses, no council session attendance. Other species thought we were sulking. Voss smiled, but it held no warmth. They didn't understand they were witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history. An entire species reaching the same conclusion simultaneously. Which was that the Kethvar could not be allowed to exist. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Chen tried to process what he was hearing. But the Geneva Conventions, the Galactic Warfare Accords, all signed by civilized beings engaged in civilized conflict, Voss interrupted. The Kethvar had declared themselves outside civilization when they chose to torture children for entertainment. So we responded in kind. She activated a holographic display showing the final 72 hours of the Kethvar Empire. Chen watched, in horrified fascination as the strategic breakdown unfolded. "We didn't use our usual battle fleets," Voss explained. "Those were designed for honorable warfare between spacefaring civilizations. Instead, we deployed assets that most species didn't even know we possessed. Black ships that had been humanity's insurance policy since we first left Earth. The hologram showed vessels unlike anything in the standard human fleet. Sleek, dark craft that seemed to bend light around themselves, moving through space like predators through water, stealth destroyers equipped with weaponry banned by every civilized species," Voss continued. "Quantum viruses that could rewrite the very atoms of a planet's core. Nanite swarms that could disassemble a space station molecule by molecule. Psychological warfare programs that could drive entire populations to madness through targeted neurological frequencies." Chen watched as the Kethvar fleet, once the fourth most powerful in the galaxy, simply vanished. Not destroyed in glorious battle, but systematically eliminated with cold, methodical precision. "Their home world?" he asked, though he dreaded the answer. "Gone. Not blown up. That would have been merciful. We unraveled its molecular bonds and let it collapse into its component elements. The process took 6 hours. We broadcasted on every frequency their empire used for entertainment." Voss's expression was stone. "We wanted them to understand in their final moments exactly what human anger looked like when unleashed without restraint." The nebula outside pulsed with new colors, and Chen realized he was looking at the atomic remnants of an entire star system. Billions of beings reduced to scattered particles drifting in space. "The other empires demanded explanations," Voss said. "The Council threatened sanctions. Some species called for our expulsion from galactic civilization." She laughed again, that same bitter sound. "So we gave them a demonstration." The hologram shifted to show a lifeless moon in the Sol system. Chen watched as one of the black ships approached, its weapons charging. "We picked an uninhabited rock and showed them what would happen to any civilization that decided to test human patience again. The moon simply ceased to exist, its matter converted directly to energy in a flash that briefly outshone the sun. The threats stopped immediately." Chen sat in stunned silence, processing the magnitude of what he'd learned. Humanity's public face was peaceful, cooperative, civilized. But underneath lay something far more dangerous. A species capable of absolute systematic annihilation when pushed beyond certain boundaries. "Sir," he finally managed, "how many people know about this?" "The Black Fleet? Maybe 1,000 humans across the entire species. The rest of the galaxy? They know something terrible happened to the Kethvar, but they've convinced themselves it was an anomaly, a one-time response to exceptional circumstances." Voss stood, preparing to leave. "They prefer to believe we're still the same peaceful traders and diplomats we've always appeared to be." "And are we?" Admiral Voss paused at the observation decks. "Exit," her hand on the door control. "That depends entirely on whether anyone else decides to make us angry, Cadet. For their sake, I hope they choose more wisely than the Kethvar did." As the door closed behind her, Chen remained alone with the swirling nebula. A beautiful, terrible reminder that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their numbers, but their ability to appear harmless right up until the moment they decided you needed to stop existing. The memorial wall's newest entry flickered once in the distance, adding another name to the list of species that had learned too late what happened when humans were pushed beyond patience into pure methodical rage. end.